So I'm very happy to be here to moderate this amazing panel on end-user finance. We have with us 5 very interesting organizations that all have different ways of doing end-user finance. And so the idea is to get the debate started by learning a little bit more about what each of these organizations are doing. I'll just briefly introduce everyone. We have Hassan here, who is from Grameen Shakti, the largest provider of solar home systems in the world. They have more than 1 million systems installed. We have Upmanyu Patil from Saki Retail. They have a network of women entrepreneurs in rural areas who sell a range of products. We have Charlene Chen from Kickstart. They sell water pumps, irrigation pumps in Kenya and other countries in Africa mainly. We have Hari Shande, a pioneer in the solar home system industry, selling solar home system in India. And we have, Francis Kulandai from IVDP, who runs a gigantic NGO in India as well, and uses his NGO to channel a lot of beneficial products for his members. So the first question for Hassan. One question, so you are from Grameen Shakti, which is a sister organization of the Grameen Bank. And in spite of this, from the start, you have chosen to do end-user financing in-house. Why and how does this work?
So, can you listen to me? Yeah. So, the Grameen Shakti has been started in 1986 with the same man who has founded Grameen Bank, Professor Muhammad Yunus. So, right from the beginning, Grameen Shakti established as a not-for-profit company, and later it became a social business, example. And Grameen Bank is a bank. So the Grameen Bank has a specific objectives to reduce the poverty, the society. So they have targeted the poor peoples. But the Grameen Shakti, it has different objective. This means to give address to the problem of the society that they needs power in the rural area. So since we have been working in village, we know what are the next problem for the villagers. So we address through the Grameen Shakti, we address the problem of access to power of the village peoples. So our one, the Grameen Shakti one, is not targeted to the poor. It is for the whole society. So since it is for the whole society, any of the people, those who have no power, they can come and have their solar home systems from Grameen Shakti. But Grameen Bank may not. Why we didn't choose for the financing by the Grameen Bank to Grameen Shakti? They're completely different organization, completely different board of directors and operations managers, all different. And we do not use the network of Grameen Bank as well, because we have established our own network. Why? Because from the beginning, we think that it should not be confused to the people, because village people always like simple. The way that, say for example, I am providing solar home system, so I'll be the financing, our sales staff will go, they sell these things, they the financing, and we collect the monthly installment, and they will be responsible for the after sales service. So it is easy for the peoples to understand this organization rather than link up these things with the Grameen Bank, and someone who is doing the collection and is something going with the collection, they will say, oh, your service is not good. So we will be in trouble. So the same salesperson who is going for the sale, he is financing these things, he collecting these things, he do the after sales. It is easy for the peoples to handle these things, the village peoples. The end users feel very comfortable with the same organization. So that's why from the very beginning we started this with the in-house financing, not connected to the Grameen Shakti. Yes, we have got little bit of advantage of Grameen name, but in the village people, they know exactly what is Grameen Bank and what is Grameen Shakti. So it's very easy for them. They don't even if you have to, because we are giving it the lending for 3 years. So if the same person doesn't go for collection, they'll make something else. So this financing, sales, collection of money, and after sales service, all things is good for the same people, that you can make the quality of the quality of your work. So that is the reason from the very beginning, we have separated two things.
So you have a system where one person does everything for the
Yes.
villager who buys a solar home system, and that
Yes.
makes it simple for the villager.
Yes.
Now we have another example in India where Selco doesn't have the chance to be allowed by law to also provide financing. In India, if you're not a financing entity, you can't do this. So from the start, you've been partnering with MFIs and rural banks in order to provide financing. So 2 questions. Are you jealous of the system of Grameen Shakti? And how does your own system work, and how, like, what are the good things, the less good things you've encountered?
No, I mean, Bangladesh context is very different because see, though we are known more from a solar point of view, but we're actually not a solar company. We are a solution provider. We'll look at how do you look at poor as asset creators rather than just consumers. So we provide solutions in a holistic way of what's required, and saying that is it a long-term asset for the poor, and we don't actually work with MFIs. We actually work with finance because it's like for us, for many of our clients, the solar system is the second most expensive after the house itself. You and me will not buy a house or a car on a credit card. And it's an asset for the poor. Asset needs longer term financing. And MFIs cannot provide long-term financing and at a lower interest rates. So what we provide needs to last for 20 years, 25. It's something that we don't want. We don't go into consumptive patterns of the poor. So we want the poor to come up in a holistic manner. So that's why and if we were providing financing ourselves, we would have collapsed by now. We would not, because it's just like credit evaluation and selling are two different. It's a conflict of interest, because a guy who's going to sell will always think that the end user is excellent, because the incentives are to sell. And then because somebody needs to go do a credit evaluation, collect the money, these are two different ball game income. So, and let us look, what we basically do, let's piggyback on the agricultural revolution that happened in the early 70s in India that led to the creation of 40,000 banks in the country. Might be inefficient, but they exist. There's 40,000 banks, and parallel to the ecosystem is we say, let's work with the financial institutions, and these banks were already very mature in financial products. See, 90% of Selco's work goes into, we have an innovation department, 90% of the innovation department works goes into innovative financial models and business models, not on technology. Like a paddy farmer gets a loan for 5 years, collection once a year. A peanut farmer twice a year, street vendor once a day. It's like the best financial lesson I keep saying that I've learned is from a street vendor who said 300 rupees a month is expensive, but 10 rupees a day is fine. Just because you're not able to collect the money at 300 rupees, we say, oh, it's not affordable. But how do we look at financial products? I think it's about long-term financing, creating assets for the poor. A holistic solution is what we strive on.
And so concretely, can you explain how it works for the client who want to purchase a Selco system? How does he link with the bank?
See, what we do is we have two sorts of customization that happens. One is we look at us as a combination of an architect and a builder. An architect designs and builds, and somebody builds it. But a technician goes into a house, and we always have a training. A technician is selling to somebody. We always say as if you're selling it to your father. Like if your father comes and says, I want a 4-light system, what will you tell him to? Do you actually need a 4-light or 2-light is enough? Because you're poor, you're talking of non-expendable income. And once, the best example, I'll tell you of one particular thing. One guy came and said, I want a 3-light system. And my technician knew that this guy cannot afford a 3-light system, went to his house. He said, I know your problem. You need financing, but you don't need 3 lights. He went to the top of the house, broke a part of the roof, put 1 light. He said the guy needed light in 3 rooms. He did not need 3 lights. Changed the whole, and then took him to the bank. The bank said this guy is an auto rickshaw driver, so he needs to pay on a weekly basis. A financial product that already exists with the banks. The bank did the credit evaluation. We installed the system. The bank then inspects it, pays us. What 2 things have happened? Because of decentralized energy, the person has a solar lighting, more importantly, has a bank account. Once the solar loan is done, he can actually go for more assets. You have become bankable and you become formal. That's the integration that we do.
So 2 very interesting systems. The 2 work very well. I mean, in either system, you have less than 3% default rate, and maybe I'm even exaggerating saying
Oh
this.
no, in the Selcos, No, average default in the banks, what we found is 10% default. And that to 10%, when we broke it up, it's like 3% are crooks who don't want to pay. Out of the rest 10%, half is because of crop failure, and half is because of child sickness or sickness in the family.
So
and
if
that's
you wait
around
a bit,
10 to 11%, yes.
Okay, so then they pay later?
It depends on the bank's restructuring program. The 7%, but the 3% is always a...
Okay. And for Grameen Shakti, what default rate do you get? 3%. 3%. All right, so moving on to the next, to Upmanu. Yes, so in your system of selling different types of products, you've also tried different types of financing mechanism. Can you tell us about your experiences?
Yeah. Hi, myself Upmanu Patil. I am representing the company called Sakhi Retail, which is Sure now, which changed the name recently, which is promoted by an organization called Swayam Shikshan Prayog, which is an NGO, works in disaster and women empowerment. So we have microfinance company. So we actually created entities to support women to become an entrepreneur, where financing, marketing, and capacity building is required. We have 3 different entities. So I lead an entity which works in marketing. So we have 800 plus women entrepreneurs in the Maharashtra, India. So we sell cook stoves, solar lanterns, water heaters, biogas plants, and agri equipments. So we mostly tried the financing to the entrepreneur than customer. At customer level, we are not yet tried the financing because we thought if we have a capacity to, if women entrepreneur has a capacity to get a loan and she can do the lending at the customer level, at our level we can't operate at the customer financing. So we have a microfinance which is give loans to entrepreneur, and they purchase the stocks from our company, and then they give it at the shorter duration EMI. So because our products also very small price, like 1,000 rupees, 2,000 rupees. So 3-4 months, it's basically a credit, not a loan to the customer.
So 1,000 rupees is about $20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but in even we are lacking because any loan comes to microfinance also have a certain conditions. So they should go for a specific purpose. So we are not able to yet receive much funding to give a loan for energy products or so on. Now just we are seeking, we have just got funding from USAID to create another 1,000 plus women entrepreneurs in next 3 years. So we are just trying to access funds from NABARD and SIDBI to fund to these entrepreneurs.
Thank you very much. So here we have a system financing entrepreneurs who then on lend to their clients. Now, another system, nobody knew there were so many, but so Francis, I would like to hear how you do it with IVDP. So you have a network of self-help group that do lending among themselves for everyday needs, and they also can do lending for the products that you're allowed to go through your network, including water purifiers and solar lanterns. So can you tell us how this works?
IVDP started 1979. In the beginning, we used to do watershed project, rainwater harvest, like that. We used to get a lot of finance from Oxfam UK, Homeless International UK, then NCOs Belgium. So they also gave some revolving fund to give loan program to the farmers. We started men group. So all the men group got the loan, they never repaid it. So we lost all the money, millions of rupees we lost. So by learning that, I decided that day, 1985, we'll learn the lesson, should not get any external fund for our loan program. If at all you want to get some fund, for maybe for a administrative purpose or some asset creation purpose like a check dams or something like that. Till that date, we are not getting any administrative. For 85, we started closing that men group. Then we started the men group 1989. So we started working with the men group, asked them to do savings. And the savings they rotated by themselves. Then we linked to the bank. This was the program started because since we had a lot of problem with the men group, we started with the women group in 1989. That's really clicked. We never used any external fund for our credit savings and credit program. Today, we are working in 2,000 villages, and we have 8,600 groups we are having, women groups. 165,000 families we are covering, and it means the total population of the family is 1 million people we are covering, and their total savings 2,500 million rupees they are rotating, their own money, their own savings, and so far we pumped out credit outflow more than 2,800 crores. It means you have to add one more zero for that million.
400 million.
Something like that. So this is our portfolio. So we don't need any finance, external finance for our purpose. We are deadly against for external purpose, for especially loan purpose. Because when you receive money from abroad, people think it's easy money, free money. So because I went through the experience. Because this abroad money also hard-earned money, I know very well. Because I participate some of the fundraising campaign in Belgium. I know how people contribute, but that value of money I know. But our people may not, they don't realize that. So now with that program, we worked with UNICEF in 2006 and 7 Mother and Child program. There I realized what is the problem with the health program. So usually we were used to deal with financial help for the agriculture income generating. There I realized there are a lot of problems regarding water, sanitary napkin, kerosene lamps and all. There we started funding, working with smaller, like Unilever, we started working with the water purifier. First we gave the water purifier to our staff to verify it, how it works on that. Now after working on that, we gave to the animators, then went to the people level. So on the people level, when you go there now, today we covered almost 100,000 families we have given the water filter. Then you have water filter every time. This is a problem of buying a patty, purifying that. So that also. See, so all the money or health related program and all, first we gave from our revolving fund interest-free loan. Later on, what we switch on to the people's money, because the people have a lot of money, their own revolving money. So all the health program, like for example, water purifier, sanitary napkin, solar lamp, EnviroFit. EnviroFit recently we sold 10,000 lamps. So we are going to buy this year 50,000 lamps EnviroFit. All the money comes from the people's revolving money, all that. But all the health program, these 4 components, there is no interest on that. It is always a promotion for any health program, we don't charge that. Like for example, sanitary napkin, when you want to propose, to change the culture of the people, extremely difficult. So first we gave sanitary napkin, worked with our own Poland company, Bella. They gave 25% discount. Every discount, all the discount passed on to the community. But after 1 month, people said the napkin is not good. Then we got really worried. Why the napkin is not good? It's a very good company. Then we came to know after evaluation, and our Tamil people, when they use saris, they don't use underwear. They use only inner skirt. So they don't know how to use the napkin. They don't know how to fix the napkin. Then we got really worried about that. Then we talked to the company. Then we ordered a lot of underwears. Worth of 700,000, 800,000 worth of underwears we ordered. Brought a special doll, special people, went to the groups and teach how to use the sanitary napkin. Today, when we started the program, only not even 5% ladies are using sanitary napkin. Today, more than 80% ladies are using sanitary napkin. Per month, we are buying more than 2 million worth of sanitary napkin, and per year we are buying more than 20,000 worth of sanitary napkin. So like that, all the program we are financing within ourselves, and we want to cover all our people. Same thing, we are working with the D-Light. Within 1 year, 1.5 years, we cover 100,000 lights with the D-Light. Now we are going to buy steady lamp, special lamp from the D-Light. That is already we bought 10,000 lamp given to our SH group members, those who are writing 10th and plus 2 exam freely, so that this light is promoted everywhere. I went to all the under schools individually and given to the light. Now we are going to promote within 3 months 200,000 lights, steady lamps. So within 2 or 3 years, we will promote 1 million solar lights. That is our aim. So we want our people should be self-reliant, my working people, and later on it can be by seeing that other people can be exposed to that. So that's why we want end user finance. From the group finance, when you use, is always safe.
So if I sum it up in terms of end-user finance, what you do is that you organize your own members to create their own savings groups. And as of now, they manage more, I think if we convert it in dollars, it's several $1 million you have running each year in savings, and then that can be loaned to the rest of the community. So quite impressive as well. And we'll end up with Charlene. That was very ungallant, I guess, but I'm a woman, so that's okay. So you have innovative technology coming in for payments of your irrigation pumps, if I'm not wrong. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Sure. So I'll start just by giving a background on Kickstart for those of you who aren't familiar with our organization. We're about 20 years old, based in Nairobi, Kenya, but we have operations in Tanzania, Mali, Burkina Faso, Tanzania. Did I already say Tanzania? Maybe. And we're opening up an office in Zambia. Our mission is to alleviate poverty through income-generating agricultural products and services. So our flagship product are Moneymaker human-powered irrigation pumps. There are two models. One retails for about $60 US, and the other one retails for about $140 US, to give you a sense of the financing that we're looking at for our smallholder farmers who generally have 1 to 2 acres of land. So we, our approach to financing was that we actually really didn't want to do any in-house financing at all. It's not our core competency. We have a challenging enough time just selling our products and marketing them at the base of the pyramid. Why take on financing? So we have pursued partnerships with various microfinance institutions and banks in Kenya and Tanzania. To limited success. A lot of great MOUs, a lot of boardroom agreements, but when push comes to shove, it became very difficult to implement these partnerships, which I'm happy to talk about later. So we decided to do some in-house financing through micro savings. Being in Kenya, we have the benefit of leveraging M-Pesa, which is Safaricom, subsidiary of Vodafone's very famous mobile money transfer service. So we have a service called Tone kwa Tone Pata Pump, which is Swahili for drop by drop gets the pump. It's basically mobile micro savings. So the farmer makes an initial deposit of about 15 to 20% for the irrigation pump, and then makes mobile payments over a period of time, on average 3 months, until they've paid for the pump in full. And then they get to pick up the pump at our standard distribution network, which are agrovets and dealers in rural Kenya. So I'm happy to talk about that success. We only have about 300 customers, so in all honesty, it's not the hugest. So it doesn't contribute a large percentage of our sales, which are about 8,000 or 9,000 pumps per year in Kenya. However, we've been really inspired by the success that we've seen so far. Farmers even leave their deposits with us over long periods of time, even a year. So we actually do eventually highly encourage refunds. So that's about 10% attrition, but that's because we sort of encourage them to take their money back, because it means that they're not so serious about the pump. But it doesn't do us any harm to keep their money, but we're not a bank, so we don't want to just hold on to their money unnecessarily. We're also exploring modifying this mobile layaway service into a rent-to-own model, because of course farmers complain that, hey, well, you expect me to pay you or to make savings, but I don't have access to the very money-making asset that I need to make money to pay back the asset. So we're about to pilot a rent-to-own model. So the farmer will receive the pump up front, but will increase the amount of the initial deposit probably to 30 or 40% to cover as much of COGS in case of default. And then they'll make payments still via M-Pesa over a certain period of time, but we'll charge a higher premium. So with mobile layaway, we charge sort of a nominal service fee, which doesn't make up a large percentage of the overall retail price. And with rent to own, because we're bearing more risk, we'll charge a higher premium. However, we're also planning to target groups, which is something we didn't do with mobile layaway, because we want to meet as many farmers as possible and also reduce the transaction costs by both providing agricultural training to the groups, and also facilitating quote rental payments at the same time. So we're really looking forward to that. And one other innovation we're adding onto that is instead of us fronting the so-called loan capital, we're going to be raising funds through crowdfunding on kiva.org, which is a crowdfunding platform that will allow us to basically raise the so-called loan capital up front so that we can use that and for our rental agreements.
Great, thank you very much. So we've seen a lot of different models, sometimes several models within one organization. Now the floor is yours for questions.
So I think some of the challenges to the uptake are, well, they're twofold. So I think on the consumer demand side, I think savings culture in general is still up and coming at least in East Africa. I don't want to generalize, but sort of saving for a rainy day when you're, just struggling to live day to day, to feed your family, pay school fees if you can afford school, et cetera, mean that, savings isn't normally a regular part of your habit. I think that although M-Pesa has very wide rural penetration, most of our farmers have one, if not two, cell phones, and also use peer-to-peer mobile transfer via M-Pesa. They're not as familiar with the mechanism that we use. Without getting too technical, it's pay bill, but it's more of a customer-to-business functionality also through M-Pesa, but it's just a different feature, and it's one that if you never pay utility bills, if you don't pay electricity or pay water bills via M-Pesa, then this is, for all of our customers, this is the first time they've ever used a service where you're actually sending money into the ether to some organization. So I think on the consumer side, there's a trust issue. So part of what we have to do is not to educate our consumers on mobile money transfer, but on mobile money transfer to an organization. So I think there's a trust issue. One way that we get around that is they don't know the system, but they know the sales agent. So they really do trust the Kickstart sales rep, who is often a member of their community and well-known. So what they do is they give cash in shillings to the Kickstart agent, and then the Kickstart agent sends the money via mobile money via M-Pesa themselves. So I think that's one workaround. But yes, we also want to partner with Safaricom so that we do more co-marketing. So one vision I have is to actually co-market at the mobile money agents, so the M-Pesa agents could advertise our layaway service, which benefits them because they want more rural users to be sending money through the agent. And then, of course, for us, if we're associated with M-Pesa agents, there's a sense of legitimacy. I think on the supply side, we have challenges with our sales agents. So I think they're right now commissioned on cash sales primarily. And even though they should see financial services as a sales accelerator, it does take longer because it's not that instant sale. And it requires some follow-up. Although we do automated SMS messages to confirm payments and also to remind on a monthly basis farmers to continue paying for their pumps, we still do expect our sales agents to follow up with the farmers. So I think the two ways we mitigate that are through a more attractive commission basis. So we essentially assume that your mobile layaway sale will convert into a cash sale. So we basically just count that as a sale as we would any other one. And then what we would do is if that customer ends up dropping out, we would take back that commission. So that's on the commission side. And then I think from the other perspective of, now I'm forgetting what the other point was. So one was on the commission side. And then in terms of outreach, it's what I was speaking about earlier, which is focusing on farmer groups. So what we've been doing is really one-on-one layaway registration, but now we really want to facilitate layaway in a group setting. So we register multiple customers at a time and also kindly remind them at the same time when we're meeting with them to do ag training.
Thank you.
See, the way you look at the non-performing assets, the rural banks, they look at non-performing assets if a certain payment is not done over a period of 6 months, right? If you look at over the period of 5 years of their financing portfolio, then because they would have restructured the loan after a year, it actually comes down to 3%. The 10% is an NPA on a yearly basis, the way the banking accounting system. Just like and the beauty here is the risk is with the bank, not with me, because the credit evaluation is done by the bank and the collections is done by the bank. It's a financial product on which they are making money. They are doing the whole. I am not interfering in very ultra poor client, which is like 25% of our, where ultra poor and very, very poor is where we would actually put part of the guarantee mechanisms or margin money refinance, as you call it down. We play with the financial innovations that way with the banks. But if I look at a 5-year period, it's a 3% default. It's not a 10, because they look at 1 year and say that's my 10%. And if you look at the pricing strategy of the financial institutions, they normally take in their interest and the accounting into the interest rates that they charge, that this is going to be the default rate. And many of these banks, because of the large volumes they do, not only in solar, but agriculture and everything, they have a large portfolio that their transaction cost of delivering loan is piggybacked on multiple other products. So it's between 3 to 4% if I look at a 5-year period.
And what do you do for those who don't pay, who really don't pay?
See, the thing is, it's on paper, it's very easily written that you take out the system. Man, to take out a system, you have to go with the banker, the police station, police guy. It's legally, you have this, it's actually, I mean, it's sexily written every time we take it out. I want to know who has taken it out, actually. The cost is more, and your reputation, as well as my technician's 2 legs might not be there next time when he goes there. But no, but on a pattern, it's difficult. In some cases where 50% of the time, depending on the community in the society, where people voluntarily say, I can't give it back, I'll buy it, but 50% of that, you basically go and pray at the local temple and get back.
Yes, that start from the very beginning of your dealings with the clients, because our staff has to be trained properly, number one. Unless your staff is properly trained, you are giving the credit to throw the staffs. If he doesn't know his job, then it really be in trouble. Okay. So what we did with the clients, in the very beginning, we try to select the right peoples. It means the right number of lights, right, at least the affordability. For example, what we did when we go to the village and ask any clients, she is interested or he is interested to take a solar home system, how many lights do you need? Oh, I need 5 in my kitchen one and my cowshed one, then another 3 rooms one. Okay, these 5 lights is if you have the 5 lights, the total price will be like that. And with the down payment, rest of the 85% you have to pay about 3 years. With the 36 installment, you have to pay that much amount monthly. Are you ready to pay? Oh, it's a little bit high. And first you require more lights. Then that's the way bargain. You have deal with the clients. How many lights they need and how much they can afford. So that it should be done in the very beginning with the clients, because you are giving them a loan. So that when you deal this part, then come up with it, and staff also know how it is his ability and how the district can pay, what is the income source. These are not in writing something. It is just discussion with the clients. What we did, we always feel that we make a relation with the clients, not in so much official works, nothing. Just no guarantee, nothing. Even in a rich people, no guarantee, 0 guarantee with the clients, the villagers. We believe on the villagers. So then we started. Then, of course, once they have ready for the payment, our staff also ready. Yes, this much he can afford. Okay, then we go for the. Okay, if you have to pay the down payment to show you really you are interested, that much will be the down payment. Usually we take 15%, some cases 10%. So they come out with the money. Then another thing we have to think that the goods I am going to supply, it should be there. They will be the owner of this asset, these things. So after the payback period, they will be the owner. So from the very beginning, we have to think, are we going to supply the quality products or just a very cheap one in the market and giving to the clients? That is another thing we have to think very carefully. That yes, we need really good quality. We are saying that you can get a very cheaper for the world, I mean, in the Chinese one is very cheaper, even per watt peak maybe 65 cents, but we are not going to for that because we are giving 20 years warranty to our clients. So I have to get a track record of a supplier, how many years he has been producing this and what is his business. So these things we have to find very carefully. So then we give the warranty to the clients. That's why we have to manage a very quality the first things. So we try to get the qualitative components, then you give to the clients. And the second thing I feel, when they will not pay you, the question is if your product is not working. Very simple answer. If you think it's not working, they will not pay. I will also not pay. So that's we tried. We have very much strong after sales service. We maintain it because we are here in the name of Grameen maybe 40 years, but Grameen Shakti itself started in 96, another 14 to 15 years. So we are not going out of the market. So we will be here. So very careful we are that we have to make, because we know the hurdles at the very beginning when we have started this program in 1996. People know that yes, they can get the electricity from that. Sometimes they don't like to believe it's come from the sunlight and get the electricity. But with the way we say use it and we'll see it later. But to the village peoples, it's not a rocket. Even it's not a rocket science to you, but it is more than rocket science to them. Immediately they ask, what's happened if something go wrong? We guaranteed our after sales service, and then it is always there. So we have said that if any problem with the solar home system by 4 o'clock afternoon, yes, still our staff is ready to go and fix it up, and you should not have the light off in the night. So this is our commitment. In some cases, if it is very far, of course you cannot. But immediately following day, it must be ready to use following night. So this is the one thing. And
we're going to need to be quick because we're already.
Yeah, this is the things we always. The second thing that if somebody doesn't pay, what will be happen? Again, still we believe that our main purpose is to give the light on into their house. Some willful defaulter is there. So, since we have a record, we never go to the police, never go to anyone. So even they are not paying, we try to make sure their system is working. Actually, the thing is that when your system is working, the day will come, you will pay. That we believe. But our staff take some tricky things. They talk to their children. Are you using these solar lights? Yes. You using for your study? Yes. It's good. Yes. But the payment is not yet made. Oh, my father, my mother. Probably you can talk to them. So the children is the best person to confirm your payment. They will say that father came back. I am studying this, but you are not paying, and this guy is coming and fixing up every time. So these are the things you have to understand as village people. How do you convince? Yes, some cases it is there that we don't force to take back the systems until and unless clients is willingly given back to us. Some cases happen, they cannot continue because there's a family crisis, cash flow problem. Yes, we say that you keep it. We can do some rescheduling of your loan because still we want to have it. We want you to have it. So that makes very good example in the village. Oh God, they really wants to give us this service. So these are the things actually we deal with the clients. That makes our things and very less PR. So.
Thank you very much. So I guess as a conclusion, we can say you can do successful in-house financing under the condition that you speak to children to get their parents to pay. and provide impeccable service and tie the payment to this service. So thank you very much to all for attending. Thank you for our great panelists.